wanted to talk a little bit about Arsenal and particularly Mikel Arteta. This video sort of came into my mind recently because I've seen sort of a couple people talking about this recently, and I wanted to sort of give my thoughts and opinions on this. It's sort of like a broader discussion on Mikel Arteta and the Arsenal project as a whole, and sort of where it's going, and if really I think Mikel Arteta is the guy. Is Mikel Arteta and this Arsenal project actually going to end up with a Premier League title? Or is it going to peter out? Because obviously right now they are not doing well in the Premier League. They are quite a way off the top of the table, and they could still win it. Like, it's very much a possibility still. And but I'm not saying they're completely done, but the way it's looking is they're probably not going to win the Premier League this season. They're out of both cups, the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, so it's they're still in the Champions League, but I mean anything can happen. However, I don't think they're gonna win the Champions League. I would be very, very shocked if they did. So it does appear, as I said, it could all change, but it does appear that if I had to put my money on it, they're probably gonna go trophyless this season, and that is the third consecutive season under Arteta now where they have challenged at the top of the table and gone trophyless in all 3 seasons. So I wanted to talk a little bit. I don't really have a script or anything here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about, based on this, is Arteta really the man? Can Arteta deliver Arsenal a Premier League trophy, a major trophy in fact? And if not, what do Arsenal do? Because I think it's a conversation that sort of needs to be had. Again, before you guys, like Arsenal fans, get in the comments, I'm not sitting there saying, oh, they should sack Arteta right now, or oh, they're finished, they're definitely not winning the league or anything this season. I'm not saying that. I'm sort of just gonna give my thoughts and talk a little bit about the topic as someone who, I mean, I'm an Arsenal hater, but I am neutral in this. Or at least I'm trying to be in this video. So I've got a little sort of couple points. I'm gonna do like a for and against, I think. So I'm gonna say, I'll start off with why I think you can argue, Arsenal should give Arteta time, and why Arteta maybe is the guy to win the major trophies. So, firstly, I think we need to make it clear Arteta has done a very, very good job at Arsenal so far. I don't think there's much denying that. When he came in, they were, they were like 9th under Emery. They were a pretty bad side. And he took them, it was very, very rocky at the start, but he came in and eventually, took a little while, but eventually has taken them to a position where for the last 2 seasons, and if you include this season, 3 seasons, they have been very, very close to winning the Premier League title. And I mean, the last time they were ever this close to the Premier League outside of Arteta was probably like that Leicester season, where Leicester won the league back in was that like 2014, 2016, I can't even remember, I'm so bad with dates. But it's been a long time, it's been a long, long time since Arsenal have been this good. So Arteta has done an incredible job with Arsenal, and they've been getting better and better. But I'll come back to that point later on. So you can say, well, he has done such an amazing job. Surely he deserves the time to get over the line. Of course, he hasn't got over the line as of yet, but surely, based on the way he has improved his side, he took them. Firstly, the first step was improve them from a team outside of the top four into a team sort of competing for Europe. He did that. He then took them from that into the Champions League, from that into a title contenders, and now is his chance to take them from title contenders to champions. So maybe it will take a little bit of time, but it took a little bit of time at the start, as I mentioned, so he deserves that time. There's also the thing of Arsenal were a little bit ahead of schedule and have been. It's still sort of early, if you think. You see, that first year, 2 years ago, when Arsenal were competing with Man City for the Premier League title, let's be real, no one was expecting them to win the league that year. Going into that season, they had just finished, I believe, 5th after bottling top 4 when Spurs nicked them to it under Conte. Arsenal had finished 5th. They were not on anyone's radar in terms of being title contenders, to be honest. People thought, yeah, they could get top 4, but not really title contenders. And they went ahead and were very close to winning the league. Obviously didn't in the end. So really only last year that was the year where, okay, they went into that season as genuine title contenders, and they again were very, very close and stayed with City for mostly till the end of the season and narrowly missed out. So what you can say is they've only really had one full season as where they were expected to be title contenders, and they were title contenders in that season. This season as well, again, they've been expected to be title contenders, and I mean, they still are title contenders. I mean, as I said, they're probably not going to win the league, but I would be shocked if they finish any lower than 3rd, and they're probably going to finish 2nd. So, really, you're saying that's 2 years where they've been expected to be title contenders. They'll probably finish 2nd in both of those seasons, which is okay, it's a bit unlucky. Okay, 3rd season, that's then maybe the one where you say, we have to win the league. So, it's still sort of early. I think you can give Mikel Arteta that sort of slack. You can also say that, particularly this season has been the worst of the last 2 seasons, because you can, I think, attribute a lot of that to injuries. Bukayo Saka, their best player, has been injured for a large portion of this season. Martin Odegaard, one of their other best players, injured for a large portion of this season. William Saliba is currently injured for a little while. Gabriel has been a bit in and out of the squad. Gabriel Jesus has now done his ACL, he's out for the season. Calafori has been injured. Jurgen Timber has missed a couple moments. Some other players as well have missed some moments as well. So really, you can say they've been quite unlucky with these injuries. And with a fully fit squad, maybe Arsenal would win the league, and you need to give Arteta the time to do so. And also, I think the squad they have right now, I don't want to say is it good enough to win the league, but because I think it is, but I think it's lacking in some areas. I don't think the summer window is very good at all. Like, California came in, and I mean, he's been injured for most of the season, and I mean, even when he's fit, like, I think Lewis Skelly is pretty much better than him, and Jurgen Timber as well, I think, is better than California. So, what real impact is that going to make? Same with Mikel Merino. I mean, he's been injured for portions of his season, but is Mikel Merino really a game changer? Is he really a signing to take them to the Premier League title? So you can argue, he hasn't been given a quality striker. He hasn't been given a quality attacker. In fact, he's never signed a quality attacker since he's joined Arsenal, really. He's never been given that. So you can say, yeah, maybe this squad isn't quite good enough, and he didn't really get the backing in the summer. So is this really all Arteta's fault? I don't think so. Now, in terms of why I think Arsenal fans and some people like me are starting to question if Arteta is actually the main guy and he is the man to take Arsenal to the promised land, is the reason I really think is because I mentioned that he has progressed with Arsenal pretty much every season. They've been getting better and better, but this season, for me, they've regressed. They are a lot worse, I think, compared to last season and the season before. And that's, yes, due to injuries, sure. But I'm not necessarily just talking about, like, their points tally. I'm talking more so about the way they play, their performances. I think, the last couple of seasons, Arsenal, attacking-wise, were superb. They would score goals for fun. Now, defensively weren't amazing, but they sort of tightened up on that. Last season, defensively were pretty good, but still, attacking-wise, were pretty good. Created a pretty good amount of chances. Pretty fun team to watch, and were good on both ends of the pitch. But this season, I mean, wow, the attack has just been absolutely awful, hasn't it? I mean, they really struggle. They really struggle to create chances. In open play, they've become very reliant on set pieces, and sure, set pieces are a big part of the game, and if you can master them, then you'll score a lot of goals from it and be very successful. But that shouldn't be your only route for goals. Arsenal have, to be fair, in recent weeks I think have actually created quite a few good chances from open play, but just haven't put them away. I think particularly early on in the season, just really poor creative-wise. It feels very reliant on certain players. Like, Bukayo Saka, I know, is a fantastic player, but I don't think they were that reliant on him like last season or the season before. Like, if Saka wasn't performing, they would have other players stepping up. They would create chances elsewhere. They would score goals elsewhere. And they're just not doing that anymore. I mean, even defensively now, they're not even that good. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just think they've got worse. They really have. This season, again, the injuries play a part in that, but I mean, I don't know what it is, but they're not getting better, and it's sort of, that's a little worrying if you're an Arsenal fan, because, I mean, maybe it's, maybe Arteta and this Arsenal project has peaked. I mean, maybe it has, like, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see on that, but that is sort of the feeling I'm getting here. But, like, the way they're playing is just not good enough, and some of the players as well are starting to get a lot worse. I mean, Gabriel Martinelli being the prime example of, I think, how they've regressed. Like, 2 seasons ago, this guy was absolutely unreal. He was fantastic. I talked about how they weren't relying on Saka because they had the likes of Martinelli on the other wing who had great chances, who would beat his man, who would score goals, who had great chances. I mean, now look at him. He looks a shadow of his former self. He can barely do anything. He can barely do anything. All he does is just sort of hit and run like a pace merchant now. And like, you know, obviously I don't think you can just blame that on Arteta. Of course, that's a lot on Martinelli, but I think that sort of epitomises what I'm talking about here in terms of how Arsenal as a team are just getting worse. And Kai Havertz last season was pretty good actually up front, and now this season has been absolutely woeful. Martin Odegaard last season, unreal. This season, I mean, he's been good in moments, but it seems like if Saka's not in the team, this guy doesn't know what to do. Like, he only sort of plays well when Saka's on the pitch. Yeah, Trossard again last season was pretty good, and this season I don't know what's happened to him. He's been really, really poor. So Declan Rice, another one of those. Last season were unreal, and this season I'm really bad. So maybe the players are, obviously the players are to blame somewhat for this, because there's not really much Arteta can do if Martinelli can't beat his man anymore. That's not really Arteta's fault, but it's just sort of my wider point here that I think Arsenal under Arteta are starting to regress, and I'm not sure if Arteta can turn it around. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. I also think the thing here as well, which I mentioned, he's not really, in the summer wasn't really backed a lot, but I don't know. Maybe Arsenal fans will know more about this than me. But it does seem from the outside looking in that Arteta has been like demanding and like the guy when it comes to transfers. He's been the man talking about transfers, or deciding who they sign and who they don't sign. Again, I could be completely wrong there, but that's what it does feel like. Edu left, and I think, again, I don't know, maybe one of you guys can tell me in the comments below, but it does feel like Edu left because sort of Arteta was the one pulling the strings in the transfers, and Edu wasn't really getting his way with the transfers. And I mean, some of the signings in the last couple of years have been pretty bad. I mean, California and Marino, when you are so close to the title, those two are the players you get. Again, I don't know who signed them, but clearly Arteta would have signed off on that. And if you're Arteta, I mean, why? Surely you should be demanding like a striker. Surely you should be demanding like a quality left winger, not another left back, another defender, not Marino, another midfielder. Like it doesn't make sense. I mean, I mentioned earlier, under Arteta, they haven't signed one quality attacker. But like, surely Arteta, you should be demanding that. You should be asking, give me a world-class striker. Give me a quality left winger. Like, this guy, his striker right now, he signed Kai Havertz not even to play striker. He's playing someone who he didn't even intend to play at striker. Like, he was perfectly... Havertz came in to play in the midfield role. Let's not forget that. He was going to play Jesus up front, and he was going to rely on Jesus last season in a title race. And I'm like, seriously? I don't know. It's baffling. Like, Arteta, as I said, I don't know what goes on. goes on behind the scenes and who's behind the signings, but surely Arteta is behind a lot of these signings, and quite frankly, these signings have been abysmal, and I think a lot of these have not actually helped improve the team. And I guess, of course, the thing that a lot of rivals levy at him, which I think, maybe is a little unfair, but it's a valid point, is of course Arteta does not have a track record of winning. He does not have a track record of getting over the line with teams. In fact, so far, the data suggests he has a track record of the opposite and not getting over the line. I mean, I mentioned earlier that season where Arsenal were comfortably in the top four and he bottled it and didn't even finish in the top four, and Spurs got to the top four. That was an early indicator that Arteta can't get over the line. I remember when they were in the Europa League as well early on, the semi-final against like Villarreal, and they messed it up again, and a little bit of an indicator. And then obviously the last 2 years against Man City, both times they were leading the Premier League. They were in winning positions. The title was in their hands at multiple times in the season, and they didn't win it. So again, didn't get over the line, and he hasn't got over the line in anything at Arsenal besides the FA Cup, and that FA Cup was literally a couple months into his tenure. Sort of new manager bounce tax, a Aubameyang tax sort of carried him, and I don't think, a lot of Arsenal fans, he's won an FA Cup. Like, let's be real, Arsenal win FA Cups with or without Mikel Arteta. That's not really anything special. Eric Ten Hag won the FA Cup last season with Manchester United, so and one FA Cup in that many years is not really anything to boast about, to be honest. So he doesn't really have that track record of getting over the line. He doesn't have that track record of winning. No one in that team, he hasn't bought anyone besides Jesus and Zinchenko. He hasn't bought anyone who's a world-class winner, who's a player who has won multiple Premier Leagues or won league titles like that. Kai Havertz, I guess, has won the Champions League, sure, but no one's really been bought in who's either a winner as well. So now I do think that's a little harsh because, of course, there's multiple managers who, you can't call someone not a winner if this is their first managerial job, because at some point, Jose Mourinho wasn't a winner for until he won his first trophy, I guess, right? Same with Ferguson, right? You're not a winner until you win something, and then and once you win something, then wow, look, everyone gonna call you a winner. So it's a little harsh, but it's still relevant. For me, it's not really the fact he hasn't won anything. It's more the fact that he's not got over the line in anything, and in fact, when he's been in winning positions and been in positions to win trophies, he has not got over the line. That's a more concerning thing for me than him not winning a trophy. Because, like I said, Ten Hag has won multiple trophies, but no one's going to sit here and say Ten Hag's a winner, he's better than Arteta, because he's not. But yeah, for me, it's more the fact that he hasn't got over the line, and the manner they've sort of collapsed at the end of seasons in title races, the manner they've collapsed in that top four race, the way they sort of collapsed in that Europa League, even last season, I guess, the way they couldn't get past one of the worst Bayern Munich sides in a very long time. So yeah, that's sort of my take. And I'll say this, there's also the element of, if Arsenal were to get rid of Arteta, you don't have to reset the entire Arsenal project by sacking Arteta. Arne Slot is a perfect example of what I'm sort of saying here, where you don't, like, Klopp leaves, everyone would sort of think, oh, it's an end of an era, end of this Liverpool project. Some people are suggesting, they might have a really tough year here, sort of a rebuilding phase, and it's going to be a tough season. Arne Slot has come in, and they've been just as good, if not better. That is proof that, you don't have to just rip up the entire project and go through several years of pain again if you get rid of Arteta. I think it's actually the opposite. I think that, as you've seen with Slot, if you get left some decent foundations and you bring in a pretty good manager, you can do something pretty good with those fresh ideas and all of that, right? Now again, I'm not necessarily suggesting they sack Arteta. I'm just saying, if they were to move on from him, it's not like Arsenal are going to capitulate and need to reset the entire project. I could very much see it's a genuine possibility. They get rid of Arteta, they bring in the right man next season, and they win the league. That's a genuine possibility. Because I mentioned earlier, I think maybe the squad is not quite good enough to win the league. Need a couple more additions, but with a really good manager, with new ideas, fresh ideas, that might be enough. As we sort of saw with Slot here, no one looked at that Liverpool team and said that is definitely a title-winning team, but we did say it's a pretty good team. So with a manager with new ideas, suddenly we're in a title race, and suddenly we look like we're going to win the league. So, yeah, that's sort of my thoughts. Again, I'm not saying sitting here and say Arteta needs to be sacked, he needs to be gone. I'm just saying maybe come the end of the season, Arsenal fans and the Arsenal board should maybe do a bit of a review of this entire project and say, where are we? Where do we want to be? And are we going to get there? Because right now it looks to me like they are regressing and they're getting worse. And come the end of the season, let's say they finish second, third, quite some way off Liverpool. When this was the season that, Man City drop off, and you're not even the ones to win the league. Liverpool are on a slot in his first season as the one to win the league. That for me is concerning. And I think, come the end of the season, if that's the case, and they go trophyless again, and, Manchester City will likely be back next season. You got Liverpool to contend with. You maybe got like a Chelsea coming in there, who knows? I think Arsenal should be looking at it and say, maybe we're regressing. We've probably got two options here. Go full out and back Arteta. Let's splash for cash. Let's go get like a Gyökeres. Let's go get some big signings and let's give it a go. Let's splash for cash. Say, Arteta, I don't really care if you don't want these elite attackers. We're going to give you these elite attackers, and we're going to give you this year. If you can't win the league here, then you're gone. Or you say, look, I think he's maybe regressed. Maybe we don't quite have the money to be splashing out on a bunch of players for him. Maybe we just have a little go on the market. Maybe there is someone who pops up. Maybe there is a Carlo Ancelotti pops up if he loses his job at Madrid. Maybe Xabi Alonso. I don't know. Maybe he might want to leave. Maybe he might be tempted to join Arsenal. I don't know. Let's just say someone of pretty high ilk comes available. Maybe you say some fresh ideas could be enough to get us in the win us that title. And by the way, if that happens, that's no shame on Arteta. Like, that's perfectly fine. If you're not the guy to win them the league, that's fine. As long as you leave them in a place where they can challenge and win the league, that is fine. Because certain managers maybe just aren't quite there yet. maybe Arteta's not there yet. That's fine. Or maybe he is. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know. He could be, or he might not. I guess we'll find out. But anyways, those are my thoughts on the Arteta situation. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. Consider subscribing. And I'll see you in another video.